But since then, there have been a lot more influential documentaries and nature shows, including including the groundbreaking nature series, including the groundbreaking nature, including the groundbreaking nature miniseries Planet Earth. The story should take place right after Dr. Dave and Lois's wedding that was featured in the TV movie The Wedding Frame, and it should conclude when Ginger is an adult. The story should take place right after Dr. Dave and Lois's wedding and concluded when Ginger is an adult, which was showcased in the TV series finale movie, which was featured in the series finale, The Wedding Frame. We should bring back all the characters again, because there were a lot of interesting questions that I want to know about, like Dodie getting married to Chet Zipper? How did that happen? And also, are Carl and Hootsie wearing wedding rings, and are they news reporters? How did they become that? And also, how was the relationship with Ginger and Darren after Ginger broke up with Orion and after Darren broke up with Simone? There are a lot of interesting questions and subplots that they can play around with it if As Told by Ginger ever did become a comic book series. Nickelodeon was starting to pick itself up. In 2011, we had Rango and Tintin becoming critically acclaimed movies, winning the Oscars and the Golden Globes. And in 2012, we got The Legend of Korra and TMNT. The reason I was just saying, I just felt that Nickelodeon didn't. I just felt that it would have been. I just felt that a Rugrats revival would have taken a huge step backwards for Nickelodeon, since they were doing really good with creating some new shows and some new movies that were actually of decent quality. And it seems that Nickelodeon has once again Nickelodeon has taken many steps backward with a lot of the shows that they had released since then, with each of them getting worse and worse and worse. I think there's some new ideas. I think there's some new ideas that the writers can do with having a bunch of babies having adventures. A lot has happened in almost 25 years. A lot has happened in the 25 years since Rugrats had aired, and I think there's some great possibilities. And I think there's some great possibilities that can be done There's a lot of references that they can even spoof on. A lot has happened in the 25 years since Rugrats originally aired. And I think there's a lot of things to work with. A lot has happened in the 25 years since Rugrats has aired. A lot has happened in the 25 years that Rugrats had aired. And I think it has a lot of great opportunity. And I think there's a lot of work, and I think there's a lot of potential that can be done to update Rugrats. Also, it would be really, really awesome if they just retcon Planet Sheen. Make it pretend that it didn't exist. Or if you want to stick continuity and have Planet Sheen happen, even though I have no idea why you would, then how about if we make it in which Jimmy sends out some let's have Jimmy send out some satellites or something to try to locate Sheen and, just focus on the adventures, and maybe we can hopefully have Sheen never come back, because I was never a huge fan of his. That's why today I'm going to list the 15 talents that I think are the most absurd. I mean, I don't know about you, but I doubt that he even still has that rat tail today. And if he does, is he going to be like Choru from Jonko wa Ichimo Hale no Chegu, in which he can have his rat tail, and maybe he'll be able to sprout out, and he can be able to pull out numerous rat tails? I don't know. Sure, Summer brings out this burp-o-meter, but it doesn't really measure the decibels. It would have been really cool if they would have had the other panelists. It would have been really cool if they would have had the other... It would have been really cool if they had the other panelists burp as well, and see how theirs was compared to the kid. If only the burp talent was more like this. Now that would be awesome. But at least they give an explanation on why they decided to do this. Because it was fun. So sticking something that consists of sticking a lobster eye is considered fun for you people. So with introductions out of the way, let's get started on what line. Let's get started on what I like to call from pilot to final product. The first episode of As Told by Ginger features the opening theme to the. The first episode of As Told by Ginger features the opening theme, Just in Between. The first episode of As Told by Ginger features the opening theme song, I'm in Between. However, in episode 1, it's actually performed by Melissa Disney. Later on throughout the series, it will be performed by Macy Gray. The Sloppy Jane, which is a female version of the Sloppy Joe, is even mentioned as one of the activities. Going back to the first episode, the explanation on Courtney's decision on inviting Ginger to her party, in the TV show's case, it's a birthday party. She finds Ginger fascinating. Going back to the first episode, the explanation on Courtney's decision. Despite looking somewhat similar to what he would appear in the series, there are two noticeable things that are featured only on the pilot. 1. He's voiced by Bradley Pierce. In the TV series, he would be voiced by Darren would be voiced by Kenny Blank. Ginger's main conflict is brought up when Miranda shows up and talks about getting a nice. Ginger's main conflict is brought up when Miranda shows up and talks to Ginger about Ginger about getting a nice gift for Courtney's birthday. In the TV series, Lois never includes. In the TV series, Lois would never include Carl to any of Ginger's activities, since she knows what kind of mischief he would cause for them. What he would cause for her, Dodie, and Macy. Meanwhile, plus for the most part, throughout the TV show, he would most likely be hanging out with Hoodsy. Happy Halloween, everyone! Today we're going to be discussing about the Happy Halloween, everyone! Continuing with As Told by Ginger month, we're going to be discussing about the Halloween episode I Spy a Witch. Well, as mentioned numerous times before that As Told by Ginger was very overlooked when it first came out, is it the same for the Halloween special? Or is it just a very mediocre experience that there's a reason why nobody really talks about it as much? Well, I guess we'll take a look into it and find out. The next day, everybody is crowding around to it, and Vice Principal Mipsy makes an announcement about that they better reveal who the person who about that and the vice principal of the school and the vice principal of the school makes an announcement about that he's going to find out who was the person who vandalized the statue. And if he doesn't find out who it is, then the person will be in very big trouble. Miranda decides that she's going to take advantage of this idea by showcasing the evidence that it was Ginger who was the one who vandalized the wall, not Miranda. Miranda being upset that she didn't get the leading role, decides to sabotage Ginger by planting evidence into her book bag, making it look like that she was the one who vandalized the statue. She then tells the information to Vice Principal Milty that Ginger was the one who... Meanwhile, on Carl's side of the story, he decides that he wants to resurrect Maude from the dead after having no luck with scaring his mother with his Halloween pranks. Everything from a loose hand on the refrigerator to Carl claiming that Hoodsy slashed him and that his guts are falling out when it turns out to be a calf's liver. And it seemed to be pretty convenient when Blake's printed off the picture of Miranda vandalizing the sign from Courtney's email, having put it in his costume, and then Maude just so happens to find out about it, then gives it to Lois, and then Ginger finds out that Miranda was the one who vandalized the sign and not her. Another thing about this special that doesn't make it very memorable is that there's not really a lot of Halloween motifs. Sure, we see people dressed up in costumes, and we see things such as pumpkins and skeletons, and the fact that it takes place around the fall. There's not enough of that creepy Halloween atmosphere. There's not enough of an atmosphere to showcase on how much of a... There's not enough of a creepy atmosphere to showcase that the There's not enough of a creepy atmosphere to showcase that was Halloween. But to the best of my abilities, I'll tell you the answer to today's topic. Why Nickelodeon's Thanksgiving Fest was historically significant to the channel itself. Grab yourself a turkey leg and sit back and relax as I take you back to the year 1989. Grab a turkey leg and sit back and relax as I take you back to the late 80s. Around that time, Nickelodeon was becoming a massive hit for both kids and adults. They then have a dream in which they shrink into an inch long and being led to a kitchen where they encounter dancing food and utensils prepping a Thanksgiving feast. In between the segments are these shorts showcasing on Thanksgiving on numerous perspectives and how it's celebrated. We see how cranberry sauce is made, an old married couple watching football, and how turkeys, a rabbit family, and an astronaut celebrate Thanksgiving. The only memorable thing about the special were the shorts that ran between the segments. They're incredibly pleasing with its... Okay. They're incredibly pleasing with its colorful animation and offbeat kind of humor. Their previous attempt a year prior, Christmas in Tattertown, produced by Ralph Bakshi, was poorly received by critics and viewers. More information about my opinions are in my blog review on the description box below. Unfortunately, Thunder Lizards is the... Unfortunately, the majority of the other pilots cannot be found online. I'll give you whatever information that I was able to research on thanks to the book, Nickelodeon Nation. Unfortunately, the majority of the Nickelodeon pilots cannot be found online. So I'll give you whatever information I was able to find thanks to the book, Nickelodeon Nation, The History, Politics, and Economics of America's only TV channel for kids, edited by Heather Hendershot. Channel Zero would have focused on those 5 monsters as news reporters under the supervision of a boss named Nero Zero, who had a nice mean switch. I lost my setting. Damn it. Just scroll back up. Where are you? There you are. Okay, this will jog your memory. Channel Zero would have focused on those 5 monsters. Okay. Channel Zero would have focused on those 5 monsters as news reporters under the supervision of a boss named Nero Zero, who had a nice mean switch. Excuse me. Channel Zero would have focused on those 5 monsters as news reporters under the supervision of a boss named Nero Zero, who had a nice mean switch on his head that could be switched on and off on the spot. The main leader, known as the Big Beast, the main leader of the group, known as the Big Beast, wanders alone trying to find the Big Beast, the leader of the group, wanders to the forest by himself, trying to find the creature right before Nero Zero loses his temper. Hanukkah, the Jewish holiday where every year people celebrate Hanukkah, the holiday where every year people celebrate the miracle of when the Jews were able to overcome an evil king from his demanding rule. But everyone and their mother has talked in depth about how good it is. And yes, it's a great episode, and I highly recommend that you check it out. In between the skits, there will be cartoons such as Mr. Magoo, The Alvin Show, and much more that would run for a few minutes. They're my least favorite things about the show, but I stomach it okay. But all of a sudden, Boney appears and tells Marcus if... But all of a sudden, Boney appears and tells Marcus if he... Boney appears. But all of a sudden, Boney appears and tells Marcus if he's... damn it. But all of a sudden, Boney appears and tells Marcus if he ever heard the story of the Wienerville Hanukkah store. But all of a sudden, Boney appears and tells Marcus if he ever heard... But all of a sudden, Boney appears and tells Marcus if he ever heard of the Wienerville Hanukkah story. The special really begins in outer space, where two potato pancake aliens named Sinrik and Nevik are trying to get away from the evil space villain named Anti-Dorcas, since he's trying to force them to act the way he does with the help of a remote. Let's just say that Dorcas... all I have to say about Dorcas is that his name perfectly describes on how diabolical he is. He makes Team Rocket, Plankton, and Dick Dastardly look like Firelord Ozai.